Hello all, and thank you for joining me today. Now today I'm in my bedroom and I've got no makeup on because I haven't put on my makeup yet. But I thought, do you know what? I'm doing an update about this oil. And in case you didn't know what this video is about, today I'm doing an update and a deep dive into the ingredients of the Charlotte Tilbury facial oil. Okay, now I thought, you don't want to see me with a full face of makeup on. You want to see the results. So I have been using the facial oil now since Friday, twice a day. And as you can see, my skin is looking super glowy and very moisturized. I have to say, I'm really liking it. My skin's feeling really soft. But I'm going to do another update in a week's time as promised. Today we're getting down to the nitty gritty of ingredients, okay? Deep dive into the ingredients. So let's get going, shall we, on the ingredient list. Okay, now I'm holding my camera. I don't have a stand, so excuse me if things get a bit wobbly. But anyway, so one thing I wanted to say before I started to talk about individual ingredients, that now I've done a bit of a deep dive into the ingredients. I was a little bit cynical in the first video about the usefulness of this oil for people with oily skin. And now I've done a bit of a deep dive into the ingredients. I can actually see now the benefits for people that have got oily skin or acne prone skin because of some of the ingredients that are in the product. And I can see now how it could be potentially a lot more beneficial than I thought. I kind of thought before that they were just trying to find a way to make it fit for oily skin types, whereas now I've changed my mind about that. And when I talk about the ingredients, I think you'll also realise why I'm saying that. So I'm going to run through a few of the ingredients, well, all of the ingredients actually. I told you I was doing a deep dive in the order that they appear in the ingredients list. So basically you're going to start with the ones that are most in the product, and then as we work through, the more we work down the list, the less are in the actual product. So the first component of this oil is avocado oil. Now avocado oil, I've got some notes obviously because I can't remember all the ingredients off by heart. Sometimes I can't even remember people's names. So there you go. So avocado oil, the benefit is it's very good for calming itchy skin. And it's very good for healing chapped skin and replenishing dry skin. It's also got some antioxidant benefits, helps to shield from UV radiation, and it protects from skin damage. So that is the main component, the top ingredient in this product. Okay, and I did think actually that was quite unusual that avocado oil is the top ingredient, because I've seen it in other products and it's sort of in the middle. So that's quite interesting. Now the next component is olive oil, and I think this is what people were sort of questioning the price and thinking, well, it's got olive oil in, avocado oil, why is it £60? So I'm going to get to that because there are a few other ingredients in here which might start to justify the price a little bit more. But anyway, olive oil is a very good antioxidant. And yes, you know, you can apply it, just pure olive oil to your skin. It's very good also, by the way, for taking off makeup. And apparently it's very good for removing all traces of sunscreen. But of course, this isn't a cleansing oil. This is actually an oil that you'll be putting on after your sunscreen. But just a little bit of information about olive oil. So again, it's a good antioxidant. It's a very good hydrator. And it helps to strengthen the skin and repair skin damage. Then we've got this oil that is also, which I can't really pronounce. So if I get this wrong, please excuse me, but it also goes by another name. So it's called Aubinia oleifera oil, which is also known as babusu oil. Now, half of this is made up of something called lauric acid. As I told you, I've deep dived into these ingredients. And the rest is made up of oleic acid and myristic acid. Now, I've heard of oleic acid. It's chief component of olive oil again. Now, it's a palm fruit oil, and it's got essential fatty acids in it similar to coconut oil. Now, but the thing about coconut oil is more likely to clog your pores, whereas this oil will not. And it's got good antibacterial qualities and antimicrobial qualities. And it's supposed to be good for wound healing. So we're now starting to see why maybe somebody with acne-prone oily skin might benefit from this oil. Now, that's the third oil that's in this product. We then have something called caprylic triglycerides, which is an oil derived from coconut oil. And again, but it's less likely to clog your pores. That is a product that primarily is an emollient for the skin, and it helps to resist moisture loss in the skin. Then we have something called Silica, dimethyl silicate, which is basically a thickener. It thickens up the oil, makes it a little bit less runny when you're applying it. We have something called sunflower seed oil. What do I mean something called? You know, sunflower seed oil, which is very rich in vitamin E. It's a good antioxidant. It helps to prevent premature aging and wrinkles. And it also, as a good antioxidant, protects against exposure to sunlight. Now we're coming to a little bit more about the trademarked ingredients. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ingredients down, and we get to the trademarked ingredients. Now, this next ingredient, which is called cocoa oil hydrolyzed collagen, is basically part of one of these. I'm just looking at my notes to get to one of the trademarked ingredients, which is called Nano Cacao, right? Nano Cacao, which you'll see at the bottom of the information on Charlotte's website, is a trademarked ingredients, right? Which is made by a company called the Mibel Group. And yes, I've been on and searched for that too. Now, it's basically what they do, this company, is they extract some ingredients out of the cocoa, okay, and they mix it then with tocopherol, which is vitamin E. I can pronounce vitamin E a lot better. So they take an extract from the cocoa and they mix it with vitamin E. And it's obviously a lot more complicated than that, but I'm very much simplifying it. And this ingredient that's extracted from the cocoa beans is supposed to be very skin smoothing, and it's supposed to have qualities that relaxes muscle contractions. So, you know, when you sort of, I do this, I've got a very expressive face, and that's kind of creates these fine lines. So basically, by relaxing the muscle contractions, the idea is that you don't form lines as much. Now, I don't know. Topical product, relaxing muscle contractions, but there is some research into it. You have to dig very deep into it to actually look at the research. But when you actually drill down into the trademarked ingredients, there is at least some research akin to what Paula's Choice would be doing on her site. Just, you have to dig a bit deeper to find it. Okay? Then you have evening primrose oil, which is the next ingredient down. Now, evening primrose oil is, again, a really good moisturizer. It's really good at reducing inflammation, and it supports, apparently, the treatment of acne, apparently. So I've been learning all about these oils over the weekend. And apologies, by the way, that it took me a while due to situation with my dad to put out this video. Okay, I hope you're still here, because I know that this might be a little bit boring to some to talk about ingredients, but I did promise I would do a deep dive into the ingredients. So next, let's move on. We have got Vicinium Mertilla seed oil, which is also known as bilberry seed oil. Now, bilberry seed oil is an antioxidant again. It is good at slowing the aging process. It strengthens the skin against redness. It does have a little bit of tannins in it, which, again, I was looking at Paula's Choice. She's got a very good ingredient list that talks about certain ingredients and what the evidence is behind it and whether or not there's any particular harmful parts to it. Now, what she says on her website is that it's got a tiny bit of tannin in it, which is not as good for the skin. But in low amounts, it's not a problem. Again, it just helps to restore. Now, oh, sorry. Then we're getting on to the next one. Nearly jumped ingredients then. So the next one is Theobroma cacao extract. Now, this is, again, another trademarked ingredient, okay? And I'm just going to have to look in two places now. So the another trademarked ingredient is called Nano Cacao. Oh, no, that's the one we talked about before, isn't it? Yes, this is part of the trademarked ingredient, which I've already talked about. It's just kind of slightly there in two different forms. Okay, but basically this will help to restore the lipid layer of the skin. It protects against free radicals, and it's firming, and it helps to break down adipose tissue, which is cellulite, obviously, and it's found a lot in body skincare. Now, obviously, you don't get cellulite in your face, I don't think. Never heard of that. But it's a very firming ingredient, which is why it's used a lot in anti-cellulite skincare. So firming, basically. Then we get to lavender oil. Lavandula angustifolia oil. And I was really interested to read this because I've never really looked at essential oils in terms of applying them to my face and what qualities they have. And I know that there are a few people, as I said in my previous video, that are really against the idea of having essential oils on their face. But what surprised me is we all know about the kind of calming qualities of lavender oil and how it can help you with sleep and everything else. But what I didn't realise is that it's also got quite a few antibacterial qualities to it, which again would be good for, you know, skin blemishes and acne breakouts. And it says, when I looked it up, that it's good for calming acne breakouts. But also what was interesting to read, particularly for myself, is apparently that lavender oil is very good in reducing dark spots. And it has some skin lightening qualities. And it's supposed to be good for eczema as well. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to have it in your facial skincare. Again, there's two camps, and I'm not a skincare expert, but it's just giving you that other side of the coin, really, for people that do actually use essential oils in their skincare. So next we have Lupinus albus seed extract, which is also part of these trademarked ingredients. Now, Lupinus albus seed extract is also known as lupin seed extract. Okay, now this is the one that's part of one of the trademarked ingredients, which is called Collagen. Now this is an extract of white lupin seed mixed with sunflower seed oil, which is why sunflower seed oil is also in the ingredients. Now, they basically, what they do is they extract a substance called lupiol from white lupin seeds. And the lupiol, which is in these white lupin seeds, has been found to increase collagen levels. Now, I looked again, I did as deep a dive as I could possibly do, and it's very difficult to drill down to the actual original research. Some of it you actually have to be a member to read the articles, and as I said, there's only so far that you can drill down. But this is what the manufacturer's clinical studies say, bearing in mind it's clinical studies carried out by the people that manufacture this trademarked ingredient, okay? So they obviously want to sell it to companies like Charlotte Tilbury. So I don't know how objective the study is, and I just really didn't get to read in the nitty-gritty of the research. But basically, the clinical studies showed that the extract of this lupin seed improved skin firmness by 92% in 42 days. It improved the skin sagging of the facial contour by 72% in 42 days. And it also claims to be a good anti-inflammatory for eczema and acne, and it's shown promise for treating chemical burns and radiation damage. And it's also supposed to improve skin elasticity over time. Okay? So, that is what lupin seed extract is supposed to do. Okay? And it's also, I wrote down here in my notes, having looked it up, that it's a peptide, a pentapeptide and a hexapeptide, and it's basically improving collagen and elastin. So that is where, now the reason I wanted to go into depth with this bit is that one of you that was watching my video said all I could see were a lot of very readily available oils. I don't know where the collagen comes in. That's where the collagen comes in, is in this lupinus albus seed extract, and it's part of the trademarked ingredients called Collagen. Okay, so then we will move on to the next ingredient, which is, I can never pronounce, tocopherol, which of course you will probably all know is vitamin E. Now vitamin E, we all know the benefits of vitamin E for the skin, but in case you don't, it supports cellular function in the skin, it's a good antioxidant, it's a good anti-inflammatory, and apparently, having read up again to refresh my knowledge, it's very good in treating stretch marks and scars. So I might start using this oil in other places other than my face. I'm going to tell you a bit about that at the end. Now, the next thing is citrus Orantium Amara flower oil. Now, I didn't realise, but this is actually otherwise known as neroli. Now, you know there's a lot of skincare brands that use neroli, and I'm thinking particularly about Decleor and Elemis use neroli oil quite a bit in their products. Now, neroli oil is, as you know, an essential oil. And again, if you're against essential oils in facial skincare, then you're not going to like this. But neroli oil is supposed to have good antiseptic and antibacterial and antifungal and anti-inflammatory qualities. What I found interesting is that neroli oil is apparently good. Not good, it's supposed to be helpful in people with cellulitis, not to be confused with cellulite. cellular. But I've actually had cellulitis in my legs before, which is basically when you get a very severe skin infection and the skin swells up. You have to go on antibiotics. But I found that really interesting, that actually neroli oil, I don't know how they would apply it in that situation, but very, very interesting to read about. So for that example, for that reason, it's also claims to be good for eczema, athlete's foot, and ringworm. Now, hopefully no one's got ringworm on their face, but I can see now, going through all these ingredients, why Charlotte Tilbury as an organisation, or Charlotte, is saying that this is a good all-round oil for lots of skin, because they're covering, and we haven't even got through all the ingredients yet, but it's covering skin conditions like acne, but also things like rosacea, eczema. There's certain ingredients that seems to be covering a wide spectrum rather than just people with dry skin. Okay, now we're nearly through. We've then got eucalyptus oil. I'm going to speed up or you'll all be going to sleep. Now, eucalyptus oil, as you know, we use it a lot when we've got colds. It's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, it's antiseptic, and it's helps to heal wounds due to acne, psoriasis, and eczema. So I'm actually going to be using this. I'm going to try this out. Let me just put this down for a minute. I'm going to come back. Now, allow me to show you my disgusting elbow, right? I apologise if you don't want to look at a disgusting elbow skin condition, then look away now. But this is my disgusting elbow condition. Now, I have had that come and go for years and years. And my dad had it for years and years, coming and going. So it's obviously something genetic. My dad has it on his elbows, and I get it every now and again. It flares up, goes away. I'm going to try and put some of this facial oil on to my elbow, making sure that I don't put it on and then start putting it back between the bottle or anything else, so I don't contaminate the oil. But I'm going to try it for a week and see whether or not it clears up my elbow condition, and I'm going to keep you posted, because I think that given that some of the ingredients in this oil, they may actually be good for other parts of the body and other types of skin conditions. So I'll keep you posted on that one. Now, we've only got about 5 ingredients left to go. And we're on to another trademarked ingredient. So we're actually getting to a point now where actually there's not an awful lot of this ingredients. There can't be, because the further down the list you go, as you know, the less there is in a product. But this one is called Magnolia Officialis bark extract, and this is a trademarked ingredient which is made by the Mybell Group, and the same Mybell Group that made the cocoa extract makes this, and it's basically an extract. They extract a certain ingredient from magnolia bark, and this part of the magnolia bark, this extract from the magnolia bark is purported to counteract inflammation, and in doing so extend the youthful appearance of the skin. And it also has qualities that supposedly helps to reduce redness in the skin, so it would be very good potentially for people with rosacea. Now, having looked at this, basically what they extract is magnolol and honokiol. And what was really interesting, this by the way, this extract is used a lot by Nivea. Good old Nivea. So I'm not sure how expensive it is. But anyway, because Nivea is quite affordable. But apparently this extract, which has got high amounts of magnolol and hinochiol, is said to be 1,000 times more potent an antioxidant than vitamin E. So there you go. Been learning so much. Right, I'll soon be finished. I'm sorry. I hope this isn't really boring, people. But next we have rose Damaskina flower extract and flower oil. Okay, now this is basically the purest form of rose oil. And it has anti-inflammatory qualities. It cools and soothes. And it's particularly good in stress-related skin conditions related to mature skin, which is why, actually, if you look at a lot of rose oil products, that brands that put rose oil in skincare often market those particularly towards the more mature skin. If you look even at places like Neal's Yard, the rose oil is always in the anti-aging kind of skincare ranges. Same with Elemis, same with Declior. They always use the rose oil for the anti-aging skincare ranges. Apparently, it's supposed to treat broken capillaries, which I found interesting because I've got a couple in my nose. But I'm not sure how an oil applied to the skin would do that. Me being cynical. But anyway, and it's helpful in evening skin tone, which again, very interesting, and promoting healthy skin growth, cell growth. Now, the last three ingredients are the linalool, the limonene, and the geraniol. And probably you've seen these a million times in all sorts of skincare products. And basically, they are the kind of things that add fragrance. They are actually, when I look these up, they are actually derived from the plants. They are actually, but that doesn't necessarily mean that because they're natural, they're good for the skin. They can actually be quite irritating to the skin. And I think people like Paula's Choice just don't use them because they are potentially irritating to the skin. But don't forget, as is often the case, they are always stuck at the bottom of the list, which means that there's a very small amount of them in. Now, I think we need to think as consumers about what we want, because on the one hand, we say we don't want these kind of synthetic fragrances stuck in our skincare products. And I do think it's a real shame that they're there after all the other ingredients, which sound really great for the skin, potentially. But I do think we need to think before we start. We need to think about what we want, because I remember a while back Charlotte releasing that powder that everyone said was awful because it smelled awful. And I think, you know, a lot of these oils, they're great for the skin, but if you buy the pure oils, which I've done, they often don't smell that nice. And if we want the kind of the feel-good factor of something smelling nice, then actually that's why these brands put these linalols and limonenes in to the product. I think if this wasn't there, we may not feel that this oil smelt quite as nice. It obviously would still have the same great effects for the skin, but we might not feel that we were getting as nice an oil. I just think we need to think about that, because I don't necessarily think that it's the companies chucking these things in just for the hell of it to smell nice. I think as consumers, often we want our products to smell nice, to feel good about us, to feel good about a product. And Therefore, I'm not that critical, and there's small amounts. Anyway, that was my deep dive. I really hope that this was useful, and if it does start to get boring, then you can always fall asleep to it. But I think now we've gone through all of these, my kind of conclusions are there's a lot of potentially good oils in there. Whether or not it's worth £60 is a tricky one. I did once do a similar deep dive into another facial oil to work out whether or not I could actually make up the oil cheaper myself. And you'd be surprised that actually by the time you combine pure organic oils and mix them yourselves, to actually buy all those oils separately would cost quite a lot of money. If you have them sitting in your cabinet and you've bought them, don't forget that they also don't last that long. And, you know, to buy all the oils, you wouldn't be able to use them all up in a year. Whereas buying them already mixed, then you've got a little bit less of everything, so you can use it up in time. I wouldn't keep an oil for longer than 12 months. And actually, this oil says no longer than 12 months. So I think all in all, it probably is worth it. And I'm feeling it great. I've had comments as well about my skin this week, and I haven't missed my Medicate as much as I thought I was going to miss it, and my retinol. So, I mean, I have got a bit of retinol in Charlotte's, but I will do the follow-up about that. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful, and thank you so much for watching. And I'm sorry if it got a bit more like a chemistry lesson, but I hope it's been helpful to you all. Take care. Love you all. Mwah.